I'm back to continue our session on electrolysis. In the earlier session, we'll just have a recap of what we've covered in the earlier sessions. Electrolysis, then the term electrolysis, then why it is a redox reaction, then the various terms like electrolyte, non-electrolyte, strong electrolyte, weak electrolyte, cathode, anode, all these aspects we've covered. Then cation, anion, then metallic and electrolytic conduction, dissociation and ionization, yes. And in the last session we discussed the various factors which are affecting the selective discharge of ions at respective electrodes. 3 factors we discussed: position of the ion in the electrochemical series, then the concentration of the ions and the nature of the electrode. And we had discussed the electrolysis of molten lead bromide. Yes, now today we will be discussing electrolysis of acidulated water. Now you all know that pure water is a non-conductor of electricity. Why? Yes, because it exists only as molecules. Free ions are not available in pure water. So to make it conducting, we add a few traces of dilute sulfuric acid to it. So what will dilute sulfuric acid do? It will help the water to ionize and form the ions, that is the H plus ions and the OH minus ions, by itself ionizing to form the hydrogen and the sulfate ions. So we are adding the dilute sulfuric acid here. Now can we use any other acid apart from say dilute sulfuric acid? Which are the other acids you know? Yes, very good. Dilute nitric acid, dilute hydrochloric acid. Now both nitric acid and hydrochloric acid, they are volatile acids, yes. So you cannot use them, and also the nitrate radical of nitric acid tries to interfere with the electrolysis. So the preferred acid is always dilute sulfuric acid only. Okay, is it clear? So we will be discussing this electrolysis of acidified water today. Now I want you to have a look at the diagram. For that you have to keep your chemistry school textbook, that is the Virav Dalal textbook, handy, and open to page 114 of the Virav Dalal textbook. So just look at this diagram here. This is electrolysis of acidified water. Now the apparatus consists of, this is a beaker which is generally a glass beaker, and immersed in that glass beaker are 2 test tubes here. 2 inverted test tubes are placed, and the electrodes are platinum foil. So if you see here, this is the platinum foil, these 2 are the platinum foils, that is the cathode and the anode, forms the inert electrode which is platinum. And you are going to add here acidulated water. Acidulated or acidified water means pure water to which you have added traces of dilute sulfuric acid. Okay, so the electrolyte is acidulated water, the electrodes will be the platinum foils, anode and cathode, and they are immersed in this inverted test tubes. Okay, now you are going to connect the circuit and allow current to flow through it. Now once current flows through it, what will happen? The ionization will take place of the water as well as the sulfuric acid to form the ions. Okay, so this diagram, generally they don't ask for drawing. Questions based on the diagram can be asked, like you can be given the diagram and asked to label the parts. Okay, but generally you are not asked to draw the diagram as such in electrolysis. Now just have a look at here. Electrolysis of acidified water. Yes, the electrolyte is acidified water which is acidified with dilute sulfuric acid. Now I explained to you why we are adding dilute sulfuric acid. So that is asked as a question many times. That is, explain why pure water is a non-conductor of electricity. So what will you write for that? You will say that pure water is a polar covalent compound and exists only as molecules. So due to the absence of free ions, it is a non-electrolyte. So to make it conducting, we are adding dilute sulfuric acid. So dilute sulfuric acid will dissociate to form the ions, hydrogen ions and sulfate ions, which in turn help the water to form the ions H plus and OH minus. So since now free ions are available in solution, it will conduct electricity. Okay, so role of dilute sulfuric acid is very important. Now electrodes, cathode and anode, both are inert platinum foil. Temperature, ordinary temperature, current is 3 amperes. So once you pass the electric current, yes, in this assembly, the dissociation of acidified water is taking place. So sulfuric acid will form the hydrogen ions and sulfate ions, and water will again form hydrogen ions and hydroxyl ions. Now I hope you remember Now cations will migrate where? Yes, very good. Cations will migrate to the cathode. So now here only one type of cation is there. So there is no competition. It will only get discharged. So hydrogen ions will migrate to the cathode and they will get discharged as neutral hydrogen atom. Okay. So you multiply this by 4. So you need 2 molecules of hydrogen are liberated. Yes. Why? Because in H2O it is 2 volumes of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen. So at cathode 2 volumes of hydrogen is getting liberated. Okay. Is it clear? Now the sulfate ions and hydroxyl ions, they are what? Anions. Yes, very good. So anions will migrate to the anode. Now between sulfate and hydroxyl, which is lower in the electrochemical series? Yes, very good. Hydroxyl is lower. So sulfate and hydroxyl both will migrate to the anode, and which is going to get preferentially discharged as neutral atom? Hydroxyl ions. Okay, so the hydroxyl ions will lose an electron and will form the OH radical. Now this OH is highly unstable, so it will ultimately form water and oxygen. Okay, so at anode you are getting oxygen and at cathode you are getting hydrogen. Okay, is it clear? So products separately, sometimes you are asked, products at cathode will be 2 volumes of hydrogen and at anode you are getting 1 volume of oxygen. Okay, is it clear? So now what kind of questions you can expect on this electrolysis of acidified water? I have given as part of homework. Just see here, homework 3. Answer the following questions with reference to electrolysis of acidified water. First is explain why pure water is a non-electrolyte. Just now I had explained. Then explain the role played by dilute sulfuric acid. Justify dilute H2SO4 is preferred to dilute nitric acid. Now here you have to specify that nitric acid is volatile and the nitrate radical interferes in the electrolysis. So preferred acid is sulfuric acid. Then name the products at cathode and anode. These are the products, and give the reaction taking place at cathode and anode. So these reactions you will rewrite them because electrode reactions are very, very important. Okay. Now another thing, aspect with respect to this electrolysis which you have to understand is that the total concentration of the acid which we are adding traces of dilute sulfuric acid. So the total concentration of the acid remains almost constant. Now why that is so? Just observe here. Here the hydrogen ions are in excess, right? And between sulfate and hydroxyl at anode, what is getting converted to the neutral atom, discharged as neutral atom? Hydroxyl, right? So sulfate ions will remain as the ions only in solution, and there is excess of hydrogen ions. So the net concentration of sulfuric acid remains almost constant. Okay, is it clear? So this is about electrolysis of acidified water. Now we will move to the next part. Okay, now the next we are going to discuss electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate. Okay, now the electrolytic cell consists of a glass or a porcelain jar. Electrolyte is aqueous copper sulfate solution. Now here also we are adding traces of dilute sulfuric acid. Now the role of dilute sulfuric acid here, it will enhance the process of electrolysis, and secondly the sulfuric acid will prevent the hydrolysis of the copper sulfate solution, means the decomposition of copper sulfate in water. Yes, hydrolysis means the decomposition in water. Okay, that is hydro is water and lysis is breakdown. So we are adding traces of dilute sulfuric acid. Now even if you don't add dilute sulfuric acid, the electrolysis can be carried out. It's not like water that you have to have dilute sulfuric acid. This is just added to enhance the effect. Then electrode. Now cathode is copper electrode, which is active electrode, and anode is also copper active electrodes. Do you remember what was the definition of an active electrode? Yes, very good. Active electrodes are those which are taking part in the electrolysis reaction. So we will see how they take part in the reaction. Then temperature, ordinary temperature, current is 3 amperes. Now when you are closing the switch and allowing the current to pass through it, yes, what will happen? The dissociation of aqueous copper sulfate will take place. So copper sulfate will dissociate and it will form copper ions and sulfate ions, right? Since it is an aqueous solution, you have water also. So water will dissociate to form hydrogen ions and hydroxyl ions. Okay, clear? Now cations will migrate to cathode, anions will migrate to anode. By now you know that, correct? So what will be the reaction at cathode? Now you are having two types of cations here. Copper ions are there and H plus ions. Now which are occupying lower position in the electrochemical series? Yes, very good. Copper ions, right. So copper ions will get preferentially discharged as neutral atom at the cathode. Okay, so copper ions will gain electrons and you are getting metallic copper at the cathode. So a brownish pink metallic copper deposited at the cathode. Okay, is it clear? Yes. Now anions. Which are the anions? Sulfate ions and hydroxyl ions. Okay. So anions will migrate to the anode. Yes. But what is our anode? Anode is an active copper electrode, right? So since anode is an active copper electrode, sulfate ions and hydroxyl ions will just migrate to the anode, but neither will get discharged. Instead, the copper anode itself will lose electrons and will form copper ions. Yes, are you understanding what I am explaining? This we had discussed in the third factor for selective discharge, that is nature of the electrode. Because copper is an active electrode here, right? So that active electrode itself will lose electrons and will form copper ions, and these copper ions will again then travel to the cathode. Okay, clear? So product at cathode, copper, a brownish pink metal is deposited, and at anode copper ions are formed. Okay, so now just try to understand this. In this particular electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate, when we are using active electrodes, that is both cathode and anode is copper, yes, that time what is your observation, overall observation sometimes is asked. So what is the color of copper sulfate? Blue. Yes, very good. So because we are using active copper electrodes, you can observe that for every copper ion, just understand, for every copper ion which is getting discharged as neutral copper atom at the cathode, there is a copper ion which is generated at the anode. Yes, so replacement is taking place. Here one copper ion is forming neutral atom, and again at anode copper ions are getting formed. So the blue color of the copper sulfate solution remains intact throughout the electrolysis. Blue color of the copper sulfate remains almost intact. And second observation with reference to the entire process, if you observe, copper anode itself is losing electrons. So gradually this copper anode will go on decreasing in size. So the copper anode will go on diminishing in mass. This is your second observation. Okay, clear? Yes, and specific observation with cathode, if it's asked, then you have to mention this: copper, a brownish pink metal deposited. Okay, is it clear? So questions related to this, when active electrodes are used, many times it is asked, like the blue color of aqueous copper sulfate remains intact when the active electrodes are used. Now if you use inert electrodes, yes, if you use inert electrodes, what were inert electrodes? Those which do not take part in the electrolysis. Yes, then what is the difference? We'll have a look. Now here I have put the comparison of the electrode reactions and products formed during electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate. Okay, so what are the electrode reactions and the products formed at cathode and anode? Now this is active electrode, means copper, and this is inert electrodes, we are using platinum. Okay, clear? So cathode is also copper, anode is also copper. Here is inert electrode, so cathode is platinum, anode is platinum. Clear? Now first step is always dissociation of the aqueous copper sulfate. So the first two reactions will be the same here. So copper sulfate dissociating to form copper ions and sulfate ions, water will form H plus and OH minus. Same thing we have written here. Okay, now at cathode, both copper and H plus will migrate to the cathode, and naturally copper will get preferentially discharged. So neutral copper atom is produced. Here also it will be the same. Now at anode, since active electrode, so copper anode itself will lose electrons and will form copper ions, as we saw above, right? And here copper is not active, anode is what? Inert. So now sulfate ions and hydroxyl ions both will migrate to the anode, and which will get preferentially discharged? Hydroxyl. So the hydroxyl ions will lose electrons and will form the hydroxyl, which will ultimately form water and oxygen, because this is highly unstable. So at anode, when you are using platinum electrode, you are getting oxygen. Okay, so that is the difference in the products formed. cathode there won't be any difference, it will be the same. Copper, a brownish pink metal deposited, here copper, a brownish pink metal deposited. Anode, copper ions formed, and here anode will be oxygen gas. Okay, is it clear? So the comparison is important. Why it is important? Because you are asked sometimes, that is when you are carrying out electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate using inert electrodes. Yes, the observation will be what? That the blue color of the copper sulfate solution will fade gradually. Why? Because for every copper ion which is getting discharged as neutral atom at cathode, there is nothing which is getting replaced at the anode. Unlike here, when active electrodes, copper getting discharged to form copper atom, and again at anode copper ions. So there is a balance in the copper ions, and it is the copper ions which are imparting the blue color to the copper sulfate solution, right? So when you are using platinum, the blue color is going to fade and anode will remain intact. There will be no decrease in mass of anode. Whereas here, blue color will remain intact and the anode will decrease in mass. Okay, have you understood this? This is important. Give reasons based on this will be asked. So we'll have a look at the next part. Okay, now just have a look at the homework questions. Homework 4. Answer the following questions with reference to electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate using copper electrodes, means active electrodes. Okay. Why is the electrolyte acidified with traces of dilute sulfuric acid? Then second is explain why copper anode shows a loss in mass. Now for this you will have to mention that the hydroxyl ions and the sulfate ions both migrate to the anode but neither are discharged. Instead, the copper anode, which is the active electrode, loses electrons to form the ions. So the anode decreases in mass. Okay. Then third, this I explained, blue color of aqueous copper sulfate solution remains unchanged when copper electrodes are used but fades when platinum electrodes are used. Explain. So what will be your answer for this? This is important, give 5 stars to this. It remains unchanged when copper electrodes are used. So you will write the answer like when copper electrodes are used, hyphen, for every copper ion which is getting discharged as neutral copper atom at the cathode, a copper ion is getting replaced at the anode. So copper ions are remaining almost the same. So blue color remains intact. But when you are using platinum electrodes, what is happening? The copper ions which are getting discharged as neutral copper atoms at the cathode are not, there is nothing at the anode to replace that, right? So there will be decrease in copper ions, thereby the electrolyte will fade. Okay, the answers are there in the PDF. You have to look up the PDF around page 134, 135 and then find the answers and write them in the notebook. Give the reaction taking place at cathode and anode. We saw the reactions. And state any 2 observations with respect to the above electrolytic process. So what will be your observation? 1. Blue color of copper sulfate solution remains intact, and second, anode decreases in mass. Okay, is it clear? So now we'll have a look at the next part. Okay, so we have seen total 3 different types of examples for electrolysis, that is electrolysis of molten lead bromide, then electrolysis of acidified water and electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate using both active electrode and inert electrodes, right? Okay, now we have to discuss applications of electrolysis. Now there are mainly 2 applications of electrolysis. One is electroplating and second is electrorefining. Now let us understand what is electroplating. Yes. Now electroplating, it is a process of electrolytic deposition of a superior metal. Superior metal means gold, chromium, platinum, silver, nickel on the surface of a baser metal like copper, iron, brass, etc. Okay, so that is the definition of electrolysis. Process of electrolytic deposition of a superior metal such as gold, platinum, then silver, nickel, etc. on the surface of a baser metal like iron, brass or copper. Now why this electroplating is generally done? One is to prevent rusting or the corrosion, and second is to enhance the aesthetic appeal of the object, to make it look more expensive. Now before we discuss the actual electroplating, there are certain conditions which you have to understand for the process of electroplating. So we'll have a look at these conditions. So just have a look here. The conditions for electroplating. Okay, now I will explain all these conditions, and these are generally asked in form of give reasons. So I framed the questions in that manner only. So first condition is the article to be electroplated forms the cathode. So whatever is the article which you have to electroplate, now it could be a pair of tongs or some keychain or some decorative article. So whatever is your article, that will always form the cathode. Now if you remember from all our earlier discussions, at the cathode always the metal atoms are getting deposited. So if your article is the cathode, the metal atoms, neutral atoms will get deposited at the cathode, means they will get deposited on the article. So always the article will form the cathode. Okay. Then second, the metal to be plated on the article will form the anode. Means if you are electroplating with say nickel, yes, so your nickel rod, a thick rod of nickel, yes, that will be the anode, and it will be an active electrode. So what will happen, that nickel rod itself will lose electrons and will form the nickel ions, and these nickel ions will then go to the cathode, right. So the metal which you want to plate on the article will always be the anode. Clear? That is our second condition. So reasons are generally asked for each of these. Electrolyte must always contain ions of the metal used for plating. Means if you are using nickel for plating, your solution should be some salt of nickel. So nickel sulfate or nickel nitrate. So what will happen when dissociation takes place of that nickel sulfate, again nickel ions will be released in solution. So these nickel ions will again travel to the cathode and will enhance the process of deposition of that metal on the article, right. So electrolyte must always contain ions of the metal used for plating. Clear? Fourth condition, a low current for a longer time is used. Give 5 stars to this, very very important. Now if you use a high current for a short time, you will get uneven deposition. Means the coating of the metal on that article will not be uniform. Yes. So a low current for a longer time will ensure a smooth, uniform and a very clear or a proper finish. Okay, uniform finish. So low current for a longer time should be always used. Yes, that will ensure a uniform, smooth and even deposition. Okay, clear? And fifth is a direct current and not an alternating current is used. Yes. Now what will happen if you use an alternating current, then there will be continuously formation of the ions and formation of the neutral atoms. Means the discharge and ionization processes, means first ions are formed and then they are getting discharged, right. So these two processes will keep on occurring alternately. Yes, if you are using an alternating current, means first ions will be formed, they will get discharged, again ions will be formed. So this will not ensure a uniform and smooth deposition. So you are using a direct current which will ensure that the ions which are once formed, they get converted to neutral atoms, and these then will form a uniform and smooth coating on the surface of the article. Okay, is it clear? So these are the different conditions which are used for electroplating. These are important. That's why we written the question in form of in this form, justify the following statements. Okay, this is your homework. Then see here, this also is your homework 5. Define electroplating, again important, give 5 stars to this. Electroplating is the process of electrolytic deposition of a superior metal, such as, you have to give the examples, nickel, silver, chromium, gold, on the surface of a baser metal like copper, iron, brass. Okay, and reasons for electroplating an article, that is to prevent the process of corrosion, and when it is iron we call it rusting, and second, to make the article, increase the aesthetic appeal of the article to make it more attractive. Okay, so this is your homework 5. Okay, now, so with this we complete this session. Now, so now what is remaining is the actual process of electroplating using nickel and silver, and this second application, that is electro refining. Yes, those two things are remaining, which we will cover in our next session. So till then, Happy studying, stay safe and healthy in the house, and see that you do the homework very diligently. Okay, so stay safe and healthy in the house. Thank you.